How you doing? Come on in. The Come On In Sports Network invites you to join us for the 9th annual Kelly Mills Fundamentals of Football Camp. This year's camp will be Saturday, June 29th at 9 a.m. at Harrell Playground in New Orleans, Louisiana. Donations are welcome, and if you would like to be a guest speaker, please contact the legendary Coach Rock at 504-417-2529.
The Come On In Sports Network.
Who that nation? How you doing? Come on in. Take a seat. Sit back. Relax. Put your feet up. Grab a drink. And let's talk Saints football. Y'all know what time it is. Time to keep it real. Let's go. Family, family, family. You already know the doors are now open. So come on in. Hope everybody's Tuesday is off to a great start. It's the second day of the work week. Now we starting to get into the flow, baby. One day away from home day. I'm DOLPH Jackson. This is the Keeping It Real Who That Sports podcast. And we are a proud member of, as you see on the screen, the Come On In Sports Network. And I'd like to welcome everybody to your Saints Juice of the Day. All right, family. Without further ado, baby, let's get down to it, family. New Orleans Saints cornerback Paulson Adebo enjoyed a bounce-back season last year. After going through a sophomore slump of sort his second season, Adebo has well outperformed his draft selection status as a third-round selection, and he is a starting above-average cornerback in the National Football League who still is growing and has a very good chance to be very special. But we in Who That Nation, we already know this. We're not the only ones, though, that have noticed this about Paulson Adebo. In fact, A to Z Sports has Paulson Adebo as a breakout player for the Saints this year. Let's take a look at this article, which is written by Mr. Adam Hope. And it reads, the New Orleans Saints defense had plenty of inconsistencies in 2023. Their secondary found constant success, though. They forced turnovers and limited many of the league's best passing attacks throughout the season. Even without Marshawn Lattimore for much of the season, they performed well. Guys just stepped up. Tom Blair, NFL.com, recently listed the NFL's most underappreciated players for the NFC. His charge for the Saints should not surprise anyone. Cornerback Paulson Adebo got the nod for the Saints. Adebo turned into one of the best players on the Saints roster in 2023. And that's facts, family. Not just the defense, without their top cornerback on the depth chart, he emerged to fill that role. He consistently locked down top wideouts and produced at the top of the cornerback position around the league. One highlight of the Saints' forgettable 2023 season was the pass defense. And one player who shined individually within that unit was Adebo, a second-year pro who tied for the team leading picks with four. He also ranked third in the NFL in passes defense with 18 and posted the 10th best passer rating allowed, 58.5 according to NGS, a minimum of 400 coverage snaps. Whether or not Derek Carr and the offense can fully cohere after an up and down 2023 is still uncertain. But Adebo is one of a handful of young standouts, along with Carl Granderson, Brian Bresee, and Alontae Taylor, who can help keep New Orleans competitive on D, while Carr and company try to take a step forward. Brian Bresee, Carl Granderson, Paulson Adebo, Alontae Taylor. Good observation, but there are those who say that the Saints lack young talent. There are 4 names for you right there. 4 very talented young players. Getting back to the article, Adebo totaled 76 combined tackles last year. He had 18 passes defense, 4 interceptions during the 2023 campaign. Adebo is entering the last year of his rookie contract. The Saints may look to extend him during the season, but there's seemingly no rush to do so yet. If Adebo has another season like his last, though, New Orleans will have to take a long look at bringing him back long term. Keep in mind that the Saints also drafted Kool-Aid McKinstry in round 2 of the 2024 NFL draft. Could he be the replacement of the future for Adebo? We shall see, and I will answer that right now. No, he is not. Look for the Saints to re-sign Paulson Adebo. I do not expect the Saints to let Adebo get out of the building, family. And quite frankly, why would they? Why would they let Adebo get out the building? It makes no sense on their end. So, nah. So I'm looking for Paulson Adebo, family, to be back this season. Of course, this season, the last year, I'm looking for the Saints to work out a long-term deal with Adebo. I think Adebo is just going to continue to improve. Again, we have to watch the window, though. Though Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis have come out and said that, hey, Marshawn Lattimore will be part of this team. The thing is, now we have from now until September, we're past June 1st. So now the Saints are able to save money. They're able to split his remaining salary over 2 seasons. So if they got that deal, that they cannot resist, would they move on from Marshawn Lattimore? Everyone's saying Lattimore. I personally, as you all know, I think if the Saints move on from a DB, it may be Alontae Taylor. I'm just saying. But let me make this extremely clear. I don't want any of them going anywhere, because we can use and we need all of them, and together they are a hell of a unit. Just think about it. Paulson Adebo, Alontae Taylor, the great Marshawn Lattimore. All right. You just drafted a very talented Kool-Aid McKinstry. You signed a versatile veteran in Will Harris. You got Tyron. You got Jordan Howden, another young stud. Everybody's saying the Saints don't have their old team. They don't have young talent of those names. Look at the young talent I just mentioned. The Saints have young talent on this team. And the secondary is going to be, once again, a problem for all those teams in the NFC. And of course, the AFC teams that they match up with this season. And if the Saints pass rush can come to life this season and be more consistent, look for this defense, this secondary, this secondary to pick off more passes this year, create more turnovers. You got Ballhouse back there. You got a Debo. You got Latimer. You got Taylor. The veteran Will Harris, who can go to safety and the slot. Alante Taylor. We still got a very good role player in Ugo Amadi. The Saints secondary is just deep. And don't be surprised if one undrafted free agent sneaks his way onto the practice squad, or dare I say, the 53. Just something to keep an eye on, family. Well, we go take our first break, family. And then when we come back, we go to Saints News Network and our brother Bob Rose, who wrote the article on Saints tight end, Juwan Johnson. And we go take a look at what brother Bob had to say about Juwan Johnson. I'm DOLPH Jackson. This is your Saints Juice of the Day. We'll be right back. How you doing? Come on in. The Come On In Sports Network invites you to join us for the 9th annual Kelly Mills Fundamentals of Football Camp. This year's camp will be Saturday, June 29th at 9 a.m. at Harrell Playground in New Orleans, Louisiana. Donations are welcome, and if you would like to be a guest speaker, please contact the legendary Coach Rock at 504-417-2529. See you then. All right, family, welcome back. This is your Saints Juice of the Day for Tuesday. I'm DOLPH Jackson, your host of the Come On In Sports Network and the host of the Keeping It Real Who Dat Sports Podcast. Like I mentioned, Saints tight end Juwan Johnson did not have the kind of season that he or the Saints envisioned due to injuries, inconsistency. But down the stretch, the last 3 games of the season, Juwan Johnson seemed to come on. His best game, of course, was that game against Tampa. So our brothers at the Saints News Network, our brother, Bob Rose, wrote the article about Juwan Johnson and how he could have a big year in the new look New Orleans Saints offense. Brother Bob wrote, Clint Kubiak was hired by the New Orleans Saints as offensive coordinator this offseason, replacing longtime coordinator Pete Carmichael. Along with Kubiak came several other new assistants in their revamped staff on that side of the ball. Other than the offensive line, the Saints made few major additions to their offensive personnel. One area where this was little surprising was at tight end, where only undrafted rookie Dallin Hooker was added for the position. The Saints have put much emphasis on the tight end spot since trading Jimmy Graham after the 2024 season. The Saints have not put much emphasis on the tight end spot since they traded Jimmy Graham away, and I would say most definitely. And if there was any time for the Saints to go tight end, it was not this year. It was last year. There were a plethora of tight ends in last year's draft that I think would have looked great in the New Orleans Saints uniform, would have given them a great 1-2 punch with Juwan Johnson. And one player in particular is now with the Buffalo Bills, Dalton Kincaid. I had visions of Dalton Kincaid, Juwan Johnson, and Foster Moreau. Now, a lot of people are high undrafted free agent Dallin Hooker from Colorado State. Let's see what the youngster can do, but let's not crown him yet. Let's let him get in the training camp, preseason games, and then let's see if this young man can deliver. But I will say this, he does have a chance to make this roster, the practice squad, or even the 53. Because you only have two, Jawan and Foster Moreau. That third tight end is up in the air. It doesn't look like Taysom is going to be playing tight end anymore. He has a whole new role. So Darlin Hooker has an opportunity to get into that tight end room in the 53. Will he be able to take advantage of it? And then we have to see when training camp starts. Do the Saints go out and bring any more veteran tight ends in to create more competition? Iron sharpens iron. We shall see. Jawan Johnson. We know that Jawan came to the Saints in 2018 as an undrafted wide receiver. He played collegiately at Penn State and Oregon. He made the Saints squad as a wideout, and he caught 17 passes for 198 yards and 4 touchdowns and 21 games of action over his first 2 professional seasons. During training camp leading up to the 2022 campaign, the 6'4", 231-pound Johnson was asked to make the switch to tight end. The Saints were hoping to take advantage of his athleticism at a position that was the worst in the league the previous year. For Johnson, it was a chance to cement a bigger NFL role rather than clinging onto a spot at the bottom part of a roster. The move paid off for both sides, perhaps even better than expected. In 2022, Johnson caught 42 passes out of 65 targets for 508 yards and 7 touchdowns. That was second on the team. In receiving yardage and led the squad in touchdown receptions. He was also third among all NFL tight ends in receiving touchdowns. Johnson got off to a slow start last year in 2023. He missed 4 games just before the midway part of the year with an ankle injury. He'll come to life down the stretch, averaging 54 yards and scoring 3 times while catching 17 balls over the final 4 weeks. For the year, Johnson had 37 receptions on 59 targets for 368 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 13 games. The 27-year-old Johnson is still relatively inexperienced at the position. He's also undersized and must improve his inline blocking skills. I think from where he began and where he's at now, he has improved as a blocker. When lined up as a traditional inline tight end, he'll need to do a better job getting off the line into his routes. But what Johnson does provide is a legitimate receiving threat at tight end, something the Saints have consistently struggled to maintain since trading ground. He is able to run a full route tree at all 3 levels of a defense, helped by his extensive experience as a wideout. His athleticism is a mismatch for most linebackers, while his size creates problems for defensive backs. While Johnson needs improvement as an inline receiver, he's a legitimate threat from the slot, in motion, or even outside. He certainly fits the prototype of the modern NFL tight end for more than a throwback player. Johnson's challenge is to now show whether he can have that same kind of impact. Travis Kelce, Chiefs, George Kittle's 49ers, Sam Laporta of the Lions, who I love, T.J. Hockenson of the Vikings, and my favorite tight end from last year's draft, Dalton Kincaid of the Buffalo Bills, are the league's top players at the position and have taken their respective offenses to an elevated level. The question now isn't whether Jawan Johnson can be as good as those top-tier tight ends, but it is whether he can be good enough to elevate the New Orleans Saints offense. Clint Kubiak's system has often utilized tight ends effectively. We saw it with Kyle Rudolph in Minnesota and Kittle in San Francisco. The system itself has a long track record of productive tight ends, dating all the way back to Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe with the Denver Broncos, who was coached by Clint's father, Gary Kubiak, in the 90s. The Saints did not prioritize the tight end position at all this offseason, which I think is a mistake. Perhaps this is because Clint Kubiak believes that Jawan Johnson is an ideal tight end for the system that he'll run. in New Orleans. And this was again was courtesy of our brother, Bob Rose. When it comes to Juwan Johnson, family, no doubt everything Bob has said, you can put him in the slot, you can spread him out wide. Inline blocking, I think his inline blocking, he improved in that area. He got stronger. He played more physical when lined up as an inline blocker this past season. Right now, it's all about Juwan Johnson taking his game to the next level, being healthy, family, and just being that matchup nightmare. He has to become the Juwan Johnson of the New Orleans Saints. Just like Kittles is the Kittles of the 49ers. Kelsey is the Kelsey of the Chiefs. Juwan Johnson has to become Juwan Johnson. Now he has to become that guy where now his name will be mentioned with the top tier tight ends in the National Football League. And here's hoping that Clint Kubiak's system can do that. Everything coming out of OTA's all season is how Clint Kubiak is holding everyone accountable. And I love that. The one thing I would say, let's temper our joy. I know it's something new. It's like when you get a new toy, you are so excited. Let's give Clint Kubiak and this offense time. Let's give him time. Let's see him in training camp. Let's see him in inter-squad practices. Let's see them in preseason games. And of course, let's see how they look 6 weeks until the regular season, which would tell a lot. I'm not looking for the Saints offense to get off to a fast start. But if they can, Juwan Johnson must be one of the reasons why. He's a matchup problem for linebackers and DBs. Able to run the route tree. Brother Bob explained it so well. Juwan Johnson can do it all. Inline blocking, getting off press coverage when he's on the line as an inline blocker. I think that's something that he improved on last year. Of course, there's room for improvement, and I look forward to him being able to do that. All right, family, we're going to take another break. This is your Saints Juice of the Day. I'm your host, DOLPH Jackson, and we'll be right back. How you doing? Come on in. The Come On In Sports Network invites you to join us for the 9th annual Kelly Mills Fundamentals of Football Camp. This year's camp will be Saturday, June 29th at 9 a.m. at Harrell Playground in New Orleans, Louisiana. Donations are welcome, and if you would like to be a guest speaker, please contact the legendary Coach Rock at 504-417-2529. See you then. All right, family. Welcome back. I'm DOLPH Jackson. This is your Saints Juice of the Day for a Tuesday. Again, hope everybody's morning is off to a good start. We're 1 day away from home day, and we're 2 days away from tip-off of the 2023-2024 NBA Finals. So, family, you see the man on the screen, Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen's name in Who Dat Nation is a hot topic. Either you severely dislike him as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, or you're one of those who see improvement in Dennis Allen and are a supporter of Dennis Allen because he's the head coach of your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. One thing cannot be looked over, escaped over. Dennis Allen's first year, the Saints went 7-10. Greatly underachieved. Last year, they went 9-8. His first winning season as a head coach. Yay! But they underachieved. They left plays on the field. They left W's on the field. If they can just hold on to a 17-0 lead in the full quarter against Green Bay, the Saints are 10-7. The Saints win the NFC South, and the Saints are in the playoffs. And how would people then look at Dennis Allen? He would have went from a 7-10 season his first year, flipped it around to 10-7, but that was not to be. The offense, his offensive coordinator had no imagination, was conservative, was stale in his play calling, and Dennis Allen as a head coach did not step in time. And it hurt his team. It hurt the Saints. And of course, we know at the season's end, when the Saints got their teammate Jamal Johnson that touchdown, he's the head coach, man. The head coach said, don't do it, don't do it. But then again, if they come to you and ask you, hey, coach, we want to get Jamal a touchdown, I can see coach saying, you know what? Let's do it. Let's line up. Let's go for it. Instead of lining up how we were, and like we were about to kneel down on the 1 yard line against our hated rivals, the Falcons, who, believe me, would have had no problem in running the score up on us. But when he apologized and then goes in the press conference, then come out, he apologized first to Arthur Smith on the field. Then he goes in the press conference, apologizes to him, throws his team under the bus. Dennis Allen has to win the trust and confidence of those players on that field and in that locker room who he sees every day. But like I said yesterday, the New Orleans Saints are not looked upon fondly around the nation in the world of the National Football League. They are expecting the Saints to be failures this year. Now the Saints went from 7-10 to 9-8, and again they are said to have quote unquote an easy schedule. But what kills me about this, we all know no teams are the same as they were last season. Every team changes. Every team strives to get better. Now, that easy schedule stuff that a lot of people want to keep harping on, that's before the season. How was that schedule during the season and at the end of the season? Well, we're going to take a look at our last article today. This is from Fox Sports, which has the New Orleans Saints win total for 2024, the over-under odds for the Saints. This is by Data Scribe, and here we go. After posting a 9-8 record last season, the New Orleans Saints over-under of 7.5 wins projects a small decline and is The New Orleans Saints over-under of 7.5 wins projects a small decline is coming in 2024. Currently, the New Orleans Saints sport a plus 8,000 odds to win the Super Bowl. So the Saints are plus 8,000 to win the Super Bowl. No respect at all. In terms of reaching the postseason, they are priced at a plus 184. And here are the odds for the Saints. Here, family. This is courtesy of Fox Sports. Odds to make the playoff, we just mentioned, plus 84. Odds to win the NFC South, the Saints are plus 350. And once again, their odds to win the Super Bowl is plus 8,000. Again, they have the Saints at 7.5 wins this season. Under payout would be a plus 106. Over payout would be minus 130. And here's a list of the Saints 2023 performance. So last year, of course, the Saints went 9-8 and failed to make the playoffs for the third consecutive year. The Saints, though, family, for the first time in a long time, the Saints had a winning record at home. The Saints were 5-3 at home and 4-5 on the road. Now, look at this. The Saints picked up 7 wins as favorites in 13 games. So in 13 games, they were favored 7 times. They picked up 7 wins at favors. They picked up 7 wins when they were favored in 13 games, meaning 6 times they failed. And they were victorious twice in 4 opportunities as underdogs. So they went 50-50 when they went into a game as an underdog. 7 wins out of 13 when favored. In the NFC South, the Saints were 4-2. And they were 500 in the NFC at 6-6. Now here's what the Saints have to improve. In 1 possession games, the Saints were 3-6. Let's read that again. In 1 possession games, the Saints were 3-6. They were victorious twice in games decided by a field goal or less. They were 2-1. So in games decided by a field goal or less, 2-1. But when they were down 1 possession in the game, which was 9 times, the Saints were 3-6. That ain't gonna get it done. They couldn't get the job done. While winless in 2-day games last season. So they had 2-day games last season, and the Saints didn't win a game in the daytime last year. Nah, that's they beat Tampa Bay. So while winless in 2-day games last season, New Orleans picked up 9 wins in night contests at 9-6. While winners, no, that's wrong. When the Saints defeated Tampa Bay toward the end of the season, that was a day game. So that was wrong right there. He says the Saints picked up 9 wins in night contests. The Saints were perfect 1-0 when favored by 7.5 points or more last season, and 6-6 when favored by 7 or fewer. So they were 7.5 favored by 7.5. They covered 1 time. If they were favored by 7 or less, it's a crapshoot. It was 50-50. Now let's talk about what everybody was talking about last year. Everybody's talking about this year. The strength of schedule, the easy schedule. It's the National Football League. No schedule's easy. But let's see what they say here. The Saints will have the 2nd easiest schedule in the league based on their opponents' combined win total last season. But again, we're not playing the same teams that took the field last season. Based on our predictions here at Fox Sports, the Saints have the 2nd easiest schedule in the NFL. Okay, now how did they get here? Taking into account its opponent's projected win total this year, 123, New Orleans has the easiest schedule in the league. So taking into account its opponent's projected win total this year, the Saints have had the easiest schedule in the league. But then up here, they say based on their predictions, the Saints have the 2nd easiest schedule in the NFL. Then they come back and say, taking into account its opponent's projected. So what they're projecting the Saints of games that they're projecting the Saints opponents to win, they are now saying the Saints have the easiest schedule in the league. This is why we gotta be careful with all this strength of schedule. Family, no team is the same from last year. So in 2024, the Saints schedule will feature 8 games against teams who had winning records a year ago. The Saints will play 8 teams who had winning records a year ago, including 1 game against teams that had 12 wins and 4 games against squads with 5 or fewer in 2023. So 8 games with teams with a winning record, 1 game against with a team that had 12 wins, which was the Dallas Cowboys, which would be in week 2 in Dallas, and 4 games against squads with 5 or fewer. 5 or fewer. So that would be the Panthers, that would be the Patriots, and I'm forgetting the other 3. It goes on to say New Orleans was undefeated 1-0 when favored by more than 7 points last season, and 6-6 when favored by 7. They're just repeating the same thing. So now they give Saints off-season additions and losses. First, Saints draft results. Tylese Fuaga, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Spencer Rattler, Gerard Means, Bud Means, Jalen Ford, Christian Boyd, Josiah Ezra. Off-season additions. Cedric Wilson Jr., Equanimous St. Brown, Will Harris, Lucas Patrick, Monty Rice, Kaliki Hudson, Chase Young, and Willie Gay. Did you notice the Saints added 3 linebackers, Monty Rice, Kaliki Hudson, Willie Gay? They added defensive end Chase Young. They added Lucas Patrick on the offensive line, plus a couple more players that they don't have listed here. And of course, in the offseason, the Saints lost Jameis Winston, Lonnie Johnson, Malcolm Roach, Isaac Yadam. Yadam played great when he was needed last year. He played good football last year. And Zach Bond, who came on when the Saints started to use him correctly last season. So again, we can see, family, there is no faith in the New Orleans Saints. They're projecting the Saints to go from 9 wins to 7 wins. A team that went from 7-10 the previous year to 9-8, they're saying this season is going to take a step back with a whole new offensive coaching staff coming in, a coaching staff that's bringing a system in that seems to be player friendly, that is one of the most widely used systems around the league. There are different variations of this offense. This offense has been successful over decades in the National Football League. And we have heard from players through as the OTAs have been going on, how they are enjoying, they are embracing this new offense. It's like a breath of fresh air to them. They are being held accountable, even Derek Carr. And he is welcoming it. He said he likes it. We have all heard what he said on when he was talking to Chris Long about how he'll make a good pass in practice, but Clint Kubiak like, yeah, that's good, but it's not good enough. You got to get rid of the ball quicker. I need you to get rid of it quicker. I need you to process quicker. I need you to go through your reads quicker. And he loves that. I love it because it seems like Clint Kubiak is not going to cuddle Derek Carr. He's going to push Derek Carr. He's going to demand accountability from Derek Carr. And let me, speaking of Derek Carr, before we get out of here, let me just say this. We all know, I've been saying, and many of us, how Derek Carr, his first year in New Orleans, was not fan friendly. Now, when I say fan friendly, I'm not saying he was a jerk with people in public or anything like that. I'm saying that he didn't embrace himself into the community last season. And what's the saying, family? If you love the city will love you back. Well, this past weekend, Derek Carr along with Demario Davis got together and held a night of worship in the city. And I heard it was a great success. It was a great turnout. And I'm here to applaud Derek Carr. You heard him on Chris Long's show say it was hard. He was a Raider since his inception into the National Football League. Derek Carr, hopefully, and with this gesture, and I don't think it, I even heard some people say, oh, that was a PR stunt. No. The man's damn if you do, is damn if you don't. Derek Carr, I salute you, my friend, for finally stepping up and embracing the community. And I'll say it again. If you love the city will love you back. And they'll really love you if you go out there and you play good, consistent, winning football and lead this team to victories and do not lose games. Well, family, that's going to conclude the show for this morning. This is the Come On In Sports Network's Saints Juice of the Day morning. I'm your host, DOLPH Jackson. I want to thank everyone for being here today. Again, it's Tuesday. I want to remind everyone tomorrow night, Wednesday night, we will be live at 8:05 p.m. Central Time as Mr. Harley Duggan of the Lead Houston podcast will be joining us. And we're going to sit down with Harley and we're going to get the latest scoop on the Houston Texans, a team that went just a year ago, went into the season as one of the worst teams in the league, have done a complete 360. And now, in just one season, going into the second season, they are Super Bowl contenders, and they are loaded. So we're going to talk to Mr. Harley Duggan tomorrow. Again, that's 8:05 p.m. It will be live on the Come On In Sports Network as the NFL turns, as well as the Keeping It Real Who That Sports podcast. Look, we're going to be live on the Come On In Sports Network. Listen, everybody, our family, everyone, all the family members of the Keeping It Real Who That Sports podcast, family, do us a favor. We really are trying to grow the channel, the Keeping It Real Who That Sports podcast channel. The Come On In Sports Network channel, YouTube channel, family. We need you all to go over there, family. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, family. Let's grow that channel. Again, the Come On In Sports Network is home to Real Fan Sports, which is hosted by Nonfiction and Zach. Uneducated Sports Talk, which is hosted by Mr. Carlos Clayton. The Hit Zone, which is hosted by Mr. J Hits and Mr. C Rob. And the Keeping It Real Who That Sports podcast, which is hosted by yours truly, DOLPH Jackson, and my co-host, the legendary Coach Rock. And don't forget, we all, baby, are part of the hottest, most exciting NFL pregame show, baby, as the NFL turns. So listen, everyone, have a great, great Tuesday. This has been your Saints Juice of the Day. I will see everyone tomorrow. Until then, family, like always, love and who that. And we out. Welcome, all sports fans. I'm DOLPH Jackson, one of the hosts of the Come On In Sports Network, a brand new sports network catered to sports heads like yourselves. Here on the Come On In Sports Network, we'll be covering the latest topics and current sporting news from around the world, such as baseball, football, basketball, and more. So sit back, relax, put your feet up, and come on in. How you doing? Come on in. The Come On In Sports Network invites you to join us for the 9th annual Kelly Mills Fundamentals of Football Camp. This year's camp will be Saturday, June 29th at 9 a.m. at Harrell Playground in New Orleans, Louisiana. Donations are welcome, and if you would like to be a guest speaker, please contact the legendary Coach Rock at 504-417-2529. See you then.
The Come On In Sports Network.